Hello folks, welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. Quite a time we've had. Congratulations BJP, at least you've gone to the Hindi heartland. The Hindi heartland, be it Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, then the three recent states, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, it is clear that they have chosen law and order, they have chosen development and progress, and they want to very firmly to get out of the Hindu-Muslim stupidity, which is a very, very welcome step indeed. So as I said, congratulations BJP and congratulations all these states for choosing progress and forward-looking rather than going back to Hindu-Muslim stuff. I don't understand one thing at all. See, for decades now, the South has been known as being much more clued up, much more go-getting, much more educated, literate and so on. And yet they choose. What do they choose? Backwardness, going backward in time, not wanting to go forward, and not wanting progress or development of any kind. I don't understand why Telangana does it unless it has such a huge Muslim population, which unfortunately, if you look at Pakistan and Bangladesh, means they don't know, don't have a clue as to how to progress. See the mess they made in Pakistan and the mess in Bangladesh. The fact that there are 60 to 70 million Bangladeshis in India or Bharat should tell you that there is nothing in Bangladesh. They're fed up there. And yet they come here having opted for what was then East Pakistan and now Bangladesh. And still the Muslim community has not understood. They have to get out of this thirst for power and go for progress. Because if you don't go for progress, what do you want? You want to go back to say 100 years ago? Poverty? Illiteracy? And continual sort of mix up in this Hindu-Muslim and think, I'm the greatest, I'm better than you are. Jinnah kept saying or trying to tell the British, look, you took India from Muslims, you should give it back to Muslims, which is utter nonsense. The British took it basically from the Marathas because they were the power in charge at the time. Yes, you had a Muslim ruler in Delhi, but he was always kept in place by the Marathas. When the Afghans like Abdali and so came raiding, it was the Marathas who came and helped them to stay in power. So where is it? Because Muslim empire had declined totally by then. The Maratha empire stretched from Tanjore in the south to Gwalior and Delhi in the north, east into Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, all this, and west into what is now parts of Pakistan. It was probably the biggest empire since the days of Chandragupta and Ashoka, the Mauryan and the Mauryan empires and so on. It had never been that big until the Marathas made it that big. So what kind of nonsense was it that you took it from Muslims? No, they didn't. It was always the Marathas and the Gujaratis who used to look after the Delhi Sultanate, not the Mughals. Now coming back to this election, you see, Telangana did not heed the message. The present Karnataka Chief Minister, I think Siddaramaiah, he stated publicly that to fulfill his election promises, the freebies he offered, all the money would go there would be nothing left over for development. And still Telangana opts to go for Congress? What happened? The brain got unscrambled or what? It just doesn't make sense, does it? And yet now the Congress is crowing about the North-South divide. Does that make sense? And yet it is the Congress who keeps calling the BJP divisive, trying to tear India apart. Now who's been trying to tear India apart? From the beginning. From Nehru, I've told you before, first, you can teach Islam and Christianity, but not Hinduism. Second, the Hindu civil code, not a uniform civil code. Third, dividing India into states based on language. How much more blatant can you get? You see, when I said that the Southerners were much more educated, in the 60s and 70s, probably 80s as well, all over Madhya Pradesh, the local people hated the Tamils, or Southerners, because the refrain used to be, Bahar Chaprasi, Andar Madrasi, meaning the guy sitting outside in the heat, the peon, would be a local person. The man inside would be a Southerner, either Tamilian or Keralite or Andhra. Now here's the other joke, you see. People used to say anybody who comes from south of Nagpur was a Madrasi. It wasn't funny. It sounds funny today, but it wasn't then. Because there was no Tamil Nadu, there was no Andhra, there was no Karnataka, there was no Kerala. It was all one Madras presidency or Madras state. So anybody from south of Nagpur was a Madrasi. So Nehru's policy of dividing India based on language really messed things up. So how do you get a national language as well? Now, why did Telangana go for Congress? Knowing that means no progress or development whatsoever. Because once a freebie is announced, 5 years you'll be looking for it and it just won't come. Because certainly since 1947, the Congress party has been known for only one thing: rampant corruption. The sort of corruption that has never been known anywhere in this country for maybe 1,000 years. Because from what I have seen in my lifetime, people who are almost beggars on railway platforms and so on, they ended up as multi-billionaires. Unlike Mr. Modi, who's made nothing. Because he insists what he has is quite sufficient. He doesn't need to loot this country. The Congress has been trying to tell the whole world that India is a poor country, we have a huge population, there's no money, we need loans from abroad. Nonsense. There was so much money in this country. There is so much even today. People don't know what to do with it or where to invest it. They've been drummed into this particular situation where they hate the thought of paying any taxes whatsoever. Now, without taxes, how do you get any development? How does the government run? How does government machinery operate? How do you do anything for the vast majority of people without those taxes? You see, this is what I have not been able to understand. And now, you see, apart from all this, the thing that Nehru and Indira Gandhi did, this particular lot suddenly wants a caste census. So you're now wanting to divide India based on caste, without understanding what was a caste. Which of them understand that a caste simply means a group of people in a particular trade? That's it. I mean, why can't people understand this? Why do they say casteism is evil? It isn't. You have one even now. And it's not just in India or Bharat. You find it anywhere in the world. What are trade unions? They're castes. It's a living example of a caste system. Any organization has a caste system. The other word for it is hierarchy. You have the clerical staff, which is a caste. You have the lower echelons, the lower officers, another caste. Middle level management, another caste. Top management, another caste. And someone sitting right on top of them. It's another caste. Now you want to divide everything based on castes. How do you do it? Where do you find anything that the Congress has been trying to do or instill into us that is based on merit? They want 65 and 75% reservations based on backwardness and scheduled castes and this caste and that caste and this tribe and that tribe. What about merit? How do you run any organization without merit? Where does corruption come from? When you have an incompetent person in a key position, all those guiding him from around him, they make a monkey out of him. They do. And this I have seen. And some of those monkeys were very, very highly placed people. Trust me, I know. Don't ask for names. You'd have real shocks if I told you. Nehru was one of them. I mean, think of a person like Krishna Menon and as a Minister for Defence and Kaul as the GOCNC, Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces. A person who had no battle experience whatsoever. He'd never been even in a skirmish. And he was leading the armed forces. What did you expect? 1962. What more can you expect? You see, competence is something which is at a total discount in this country, has been. Along comes the BJP and starts changing that. I mentioned the brain drain. What do you think freebies do? Remember Sri Lanka? You know Pakistan? Is that what you want? So why do people still continue to go for freebies? Why do they even offer them? And why do people vote for them? I mean, not so long ago, it used to be fashionable. Political parties would go into these ghettos and so on, a bottle of local whiskey and 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees, and they get their vote. 5 years from then onward, they would keep looting. If they spend 1 crore rupees, they expect to get back or loot 150 to 200 crores. Now you understand how they got so wealthy. Is this what you want to encourage? I don't. I know the world hates Modi. Why? Because it reversed the brain drain. Where will Europe and the US get their replacements from? Trained replacements. To nurture them in their own countries is prohibitively expensive. It's so much cheaper here. And yet, we insist we must drive them out. Why was nothing made here for so many decades? Because obviously the Congress party is known as the Commission party. You know, the backhanders, the bribe money, the commissions. Now all that money, a lot of it was black money, untaxed money, was invested abroad for their development. What about us? Now you remember, I said earlier, this country was still a colony until about 9 years ago. The Congress party from Nehru did something which the British had been doing since 1835, ramming down our throats the fact that we are incompetent, we are no good, we can't make anything. If we do make it, it's no use. It won't last more than 2 days. And what did Nehru and the Congress party do? Ram that so far down our throats, they hoped it would never come out. Because they were not looking for an independent and a thriving India. They were looking to replace the British as the colonial power in India. Now, I cannot understand where they got this from, or where this grandiose idea came from, but it was there. You know, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, you could not get a startup going in this country because the moment you went for a license, they used to ask you, where's your foreign collaboration? Well, I'm doing it myself. You're no good. You can't do it. You don't know how to do it. It won't last 2 days. Get foreign collaboration and I'll personally grant your license. You see that license Raj? It was the British Raj being imposed on India all over again. And this has been Congress policy right the way through. Now please don't get me wrong, I'm not pro-Congress or anti-Congress or pro-BJP or anything else. I'm sitting on the fence and looking at it in a very cold-blooded way. What has the Congress done? What did they achieve in 60 or 70 years? What has the BJP done? Certainly the Modi government in 9.5 years. It's mind-boggling. It just shows that when you want to do something, how much can be achieved. The fortunate part is, Modi ji has a vibrant young population which wants to go forward, which wants to do things here, not in Silicon Valley in the US or in Germany or in the UK, but here in their homeland. They care. And I hope they never stop caring for this motherland of ours. I explained what Bharat Mata is, and I insist, Bharat Mata ki jai. Long live Bharat Mata. Please folks, with all this, don't forget one thing, BJP in particular. This is not the time to get complacent. There is a general election in May 2024, which is what, 5.5 months away? Here you have to redouble your efforts. Give justice, give proper government, root out corruption where you can, and give people in India a really good chance to come up. Spread your wings all over India. Not just in cities, but certainly in rural India. For that is where India's heart lies, in rural India. Even today, 70 to 75% of our population lives in those rural areas. The good part is BJP has done wonders with the railways, connectivity. It has put in a huge effort in building a road network. Congress never understood that, look, you need roads. Why? Goods travel by road and by rail. The rail transport used to be so slow, pathetically slow. People used to insist on road transport. Where were the roads? The silly clots in the 60s and 70s and 80s said, no, why should we spend money on this? Money is tied up. You couldn't get through to the idiots. Money is not tied up. Money is in the hands of people who need it, the people who build those roads. You got an infrastructure to get goods from A to B much more quickly. There's connectivity. People understand the need to travel from A to B, looking for jobs, looking for work. A job won't come sitting to you, sitting at your home. You have to go out for it. You see, all these things, the BJP has got its act together. But it needs time. First to correct the blunders of 60 or 70 years of misrule, and at the same time push forward for the future. Because it is that future which we need badly to give us back our pride in being Indian. Thanks, folks. Remember, be proud to be Indian. Because without that, if we go back to the old colonial era, we're so sorry we're Indian. It doesn't do any good for us. Be proud to be Indian. Carry the Indian flag and India in your heart wherever you go. Okay, folks. See you next time. Pass this message on. Especially to BJP, you've got to redouble your efforts. Because without that victory in the general election, all this will have gone to waste. For heaven's sake, do not let those, how shall I put it, provincial governments or regional governments take over, because they don't have a clue. All they will do is to sell off everything, make sure nothing is made here. They'll sell off all our raw materials and then buy it back at 4 times the price when we will make it much cheaper here and export it. Okay, folks, I'll say goodbye now. There'll be a little bit of a gap. Let me recharge my batteries. The last few days have been rather, how shall I put it, on tenterhooks. At least the Hindi heartland didn't let us down. So please send this message on. Pass it on to others, your groups. Ask them to pass it on to their groups, their friends, their relatives, and so on. Because we have to pull together, not in different directions. Please, let's get our act together and be one nation. Not 30 or 40 or 35 different countries pulling in different directions. Please. Thanks, folks. Ciao.